first, I just want to make sure I understand the mechanism of the resolution tonight.
Yes, sir.
Is it binding, or is this more like a heavy suggestion type of thing?
Well, it's binding, and what the resolution will do is drive policy and decisions moving forward. So it's not like it's not a strategic plan, but I think this definitely sets up us developing our strategic plan.
And to you, what would you say is of this laundry list of changes here, what would you say is one of the most important, or the one that stands out to you?
That's a tough question. I think this resolution is full of a lot of good things. I think one of the most powerful things is the curriculum piece and the anti-racism training. I think that goes a very long way. Culturally appropriate curriculum, students being able to not only see themselves in their lessons every single day, but also being able to dive deep into conversations about why the world is the way it is. You know, we didn't just magically get to this point. You know, there's been a lot of things over the course of time in history that got us here today. So really being able to have truthful, honest conversations around that could go a very long way.
And where do those curriculum changes take place? Is that in a particular class, or is this a more widespread sort of adjustment?
Well, honestly, we actually have the opportunity to adopt our first piece of curriculum here soon, probably. We just have to have further conversations around it. That would start out in 11th grade history class. And our hope is that it would be widespread. So throughout our entire system, starting in elementary school all the way through.
So would it be more likely to have more conversations then in schools about the way that racism is currently structured, rather than just, you know, some things about the Civil War, the Civil Rights Movement, and then, you know,
Right.
kind of MLK cured racism, it doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Having some more honest, truthful conversations about that, and especially how much systemic racism exists, you know, and how much our communities have been infected by that, and how it plays a part in our everyday lives, whether it's intentional or unintentional, you know.
And what kind of effect, both on the students and I guess on the community at large, do you think having that sort of curriculum in classes could hopefully have?
Oh, a major positive impact on everybody. I think it helped create a more understanding and tolerant world. And I think our students being treated fairly and taking the time to understand each other throughout their K-12 experience, it'll only make them more empathetic people and understanding adults later on in life. So it have major impacts throughout our entire community.
And what would you say the current status of the curriculum is? How much is racism really addressed in our current curriculum?
Not a whole lot, to be 100% honest with you. And even the things that are designed for it to be addressed more often, our students would beg to differ that, you know, it's not that deep of a conversation. I think it changes from teacher to teacher. I think some teachers have definitely, you know, gotten ahead of it and really started to implement discussions around race and racism in their daily lessons and conversations.
One of the biggest changes, it seemed to me, was the ending SPS employees arresting students. That one seemed to be one of the just the most concrete, this is an obvious big change. And that would include SROs, right?
Well, so that was a draft, and the words have changed since.
Okay.
Is if I could read that to you.
Yeah.
The current wording as it stands today is Spokane Public Schools will work with their Spokane Education Association and campus resource officer partners to come to an agreement that will limit or eliminate employees' ability to arrest students.
Okay.
That particular statement is definitely aimed at trying to further disrupt, because we've been doing a lot of work around it over the years, but further disrupt the school to prison pipeline. Right.
And how prevalent do you think that is in the district right now?
The efforts?
No, the how prevalent is the pipeline really? I mean, how significant of an issue is that for SPS?
It's still a significant issue. Like at any resemblance of it at all, I think is an issue. But we've made major strides over the course of the last 4 years. I mean, down from anywhere from 1,000 plus arrests in a school year to under 100. You know, so we've made major strides in the right direction, and that particular statement is just us attempting to continue to keep pushing forward.
Would that also help with instances of SRO violence against students like we saw with Sean Oddie earlier this year? Do you think reducing or eliminating arrest would help with that?
Absolutely, I think so, 100%. That's the hope, that's the goal. I think our CROs, I had a lot of conversations with them over the course of the last week, of course, which I'm sure you could assume, but and they wanted to be known that, you know, law enforcement type jobs are only 10% of what they do. You
Mm.
know, they're in our buildings to build relationships, to provide supports and resources to students and staff, and to be guardians of our facilities as well and protectors. So I think if we're able to come to an agreement around what that looks like in the future, I think we definitely could see, like, eliminate that possibility.
What was the impetus for changing the language? Was there pushback from the SROs or the SEA?
I think it was just more so further conversation with the board and administrators, just to really try to make sure that everything that we do, we try to do with a collaborative lens.
Hmm.
And so we want to do this together with everybody, whether it's our community, our students, or our staff members. And so just really inviting everyone to the table so that we can have open, honest conversations.
There have also been some conversations nationally just about the role of police and former police officers in schools. Has there been any
Yes, sir.
conversation on the district level about potentially just eliminating the program altogether and getting cops out of schools entirely?
Well, there haven't been any in-depth conversations. You know, obviously those discussions have come up with other school districts around the nation going that route, especially most recently, right? But we've explored multiple different models, and so that was discussed at a very high level, nothing really in depth, and that was before the whole COVID crisis. So,
Mhm.
you know, so that was some time ago.
Let me check and see what else I wanted to ask about here. I had some notes. One of the big ones at the top of the resolution was applying an equity lens to budgetary decisions.
Yes,
What
sir.
are some examples of what that might look like?
So like, think about like times like now when we're experiencing budgetary difficulties and potential cutbacks might have to happen. It's just making sure we're very conscious and purposeful in what those cutbacks are or aren't, right? So not really trying not to make sure we're not taking away supports from the classroom, especially the ones that are there to support our most negatively impacted populations.
Right now, are you expecting this resolution to pass pretty easily tonight?
I don't I don't want to speculate. I hope it does. I can say that. I hope it
Okay.
does. I think we've been having a lot of conversations lately, and it's my expectation and my hope for sure, but I can't
Yeah.
guarantee anything.
What do you think the biggest challenges would be after this resolution? Are there any particular changes listed in the resolution that you think will be difficult or pose unique challenges in terms of actually enacting them?
I think the biggest one is just making sure communication stays consistent, you know, and being very purposeful with how we roll things out is the biggest challenge. So if you, in my opinion, is if you don't do that the right way, it makes it more difficult to create buy-in. If you don't have the proper buy-in, you're not going to get anywhere, and we'll find ourselves right back to square one all over again. So just making sure communication is thorough, accurate, and on time, so that we have the proper buy-in throughout our entire system to really be able to attack this.
All right. Anything else I need to know about before the meeting tonight?
No, other than there's been a lot of community support around this. We're sitting at probably around 600 emails uh, in the last 5 days on this one topic, you know, let alone all the other topics that we deal with. But there's supposed to be a lot of people in the meeting tonight that want to provide public comment, and I hope the vast majority of them are positive. But if not, we're definitely more than willing to listen and have thoughtful conversations around it. So that's
All
it.
right. Well, thanks so much for taking the time.
Absolutely. Thank you.